Good morning, children. This is lecture 6 of chapter Solutions. In this lecture, we will talk about another colligative property of solution, that is osmosis. Let us understand the phenomenon of osmosis. You all know that gas molecules is having a property, it can diffuse. Similarly, solute present in a solution that also exhibit the same phenomenon of diffusion. It is a two-way process. Just see the figure here. In this figure, you can see that pure solvent and the solution, these two are separated by a permeable membrane, permeable barrier. Solute particle from the solution will move to the solvent side, and the solvent molecule will move towards the solution side, because I told you that it is a two-way process. This process will continue till the system becomes homogeneous. That means both the side it will be the same concentration of the solute particles should be present. So this process continue till system becomes homogeneous with reference to the solute concentration. That means in both the side the concentration of the solute should be same. The tendency of a solution to equalize solution concentration in all parts give rise to a phenomenon which is known as osmosis. And this process is known as osmosis. To understand the phenomenon of osmosis, please see the figure given here. Now in this you can see that there is a permeable membrane. This is known as semi-permeable membrane. One side of this semi-permeable membrane we have taken pure solvent, and the other side we have taken the solution. Now the semi-permeable membrane is a membrane that is separating the pure solvent and the solution, but only the pure solvent molecule can pass through this and it can go through the solution side, but from solution side the solute cannot come to the pure solvent side. Okay, now see here, a pure solvent and a solution made with the same solvent are separated by a semi-permeable membrane. The solution that you will take, it should have the same solvent as that of the pure solvent. A semi-permeable membrane is a barrier through which only solvent molecule can pass, but the solute particles cannot. Okay, initially the solvent and the solution levels are same on both the sides. But after some times, you will see that the level in the solution side is increasing. The solvent molecule from the solvent side will move through the semi-permeable membrane and it will enter into the solution side. And after it is entering to the solution side, it will equalize the solute concentration on both the sides. Okay, because pure solvent will enter into the solution side, naturally the amount of the solvent will increase, so the concentration of the solute will decrease in that. So it will, through the semi-permeable membrane, the particle of the solvent will enter and it will move to the solution side to equalize the solute concentration on both the sides. As a result of this, what will happen? The solution level, naturally it will go up. The level of the solution will go up. After some time, what will happen? An equilibrium will reach and there will be no elevation of solution level, you can see. Okay, this flow of solvent molecule, this flow of solvent molecules through the semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. The osmotic pressure on the solvent side balances the hydrostatic pressure on the solution side. This is the phenomenon of osmosis. To understand the phenomenon of osmosis in a better way, let us take an example of egg. The first case, egg is kept in pure water, and in the second case, egg is kept in saline water. You will notice that in the first case, when egg is kept in a pure water, after some time you will find that the egg will swell up. And if you will put egg in a saline water, after some time you will find that egg will shrink. Now why it is happening? The first case you can see here, pure water is less concentrated than egg material. So pure water here will enter through the eggshell, and that eggshell is acting here as a semi-permeable membrane. And as the water will enter inside the egg through the semi-permeable membrane, that is eggshell, the egg will swell up. And in the second case, what is happening? The egg material is less concentrated than saline water. Okay, hence water in the egg material will go out through eggshell, that is acting here also as a semi-permeable membrane, and the egg will shrink. Okay. Now next is osmotic pressure. What is osmotic pressure? For this, please see the adjacent figure. A closed porous spot which is filled with a solution having a semi-permeable membrane fitted inside and a glass tube on the top, that is placed in a container containing a solvent. Okay, you can see here, this is a porous spot, you can see the porous spot, and this is your semi-permeable membrane which is fitted inside the porous spot, and there is a tube at the top of the porous spot. This porous spot is containing a solution and the full arrangement is placed inside a container which is containing a solvent. Now the solvent which we are taking in the container and the solution which is taken in the porous spot, both are containing the same solvent. And there is a semi-permeable membrane, so you can understand that the molecule from the solvent only can enter into the porous spot through that semi-permeable membrane. This arrangement is kept undisturbed for some days. Initially, what you will see, you will find that the solution level rises up through the glass tube. But after some time, you will find that there will be no change in the solution level. Okay, why this is happening? This is happening because the solvent molecules, due to osmotic pressure, enters the porous spot through that semi-permeable membrane. Okay, because the molecule of solvent only can enter. So the molecules of the solvent will enter into the porous spot through the semi-permeable membrane because of the osmotic pressure. But it stops when osmotic pressure is equal to the hydrostatic pressure of the rise in glass tube. Am I clear to you? Now from there, What is the definition of osmotic pressure we are getting? Osmotic pressure of a solution. Now I'm talking about solution, okay, not the solvent. The osmotic pressure of a solution may be defined as the hydrostatic pressure which builds when the solution is separated from the solvent by a semi-permeable membrane, and which is just sufficient to stop the phenomenon of osmosis. What does it mean? What is the phenomenon of osmosis? Phenomenon of osmosis is saying that because of the osmotic pressure, the molecules of the solvent will enter into the solution side through the semi-permeable membrane, and you have seen it through the experiment that because of that the level of the solution is rising up, but after some times it stops. That means the phenomenon of osmosis is not taking place anymore. Now why it is happening? Because you know that the osmotic pressure of the solvent and the hydrostatic pressure of the solution both are equal, balancing each other. Okay, it means that the concentration on both the side, that is the solvent side and the solution side, become equal. So the process of osmosis stops. So it is said the osmotic pressure of a solution, children please concentrate, the osmotic pressure of a solution may be defined as the hydrostatic pressure, that much of pressure which builds when the solution is separated from solvent, naturally by a semi-permeable membrane, which is just sufficient to stop the process of osmosis. So no more osmosis will take place. That particular pressure, hydrostatic pressure, is known as the osmotic pressure for a solution. I hope I am clear. Next is reverse osmosis. When the pressure applied on the solution is greater than the osmotic pressure of the solution. Both I'm saying solution. The pressure applied on the solution, if it is greater than the osmotic pressure of the solution, then what will happen? The solvent molecule move from the solution to the solvent side. Just the reverse of the osmosis, reverse of the process of osmosis. Okay, hydrostatic pressure is becoming more than the osmotic pressure. Okay, so the reverse osmosis will take place. Then in that case what will happen? The solvent molecules move from solution to the solvent side through the semi-permeable membrane, and this phenomenon is known as reverse osmosis. Okay. Laws of osmotic pressure. In dilute solution, the solute particle behave like gas molecule in dilute solution. The osmotic pressure of a dilute solution is the pressure of the solute will exert if it was a gas at that temperature, occupying the same volume as that of the solution. That means it is behaving like gas molecules. In a dilute solution, the solute particle will behave like gas molecules. So you can understand that it should follow all the gas laws. Charles' law, Boyle's law, Avogadro's laws, all these laws. Ordinary laws obeyed by gas when applied to dilute solution are laws of osmotic pressure. And that is first said by a scientist, Van 't Hoff. Okay. As you know that Boyle's law is a gas law. Now when it is applicable for a dilute solution, it is known as Boyle's Van 't Hoff law. What is that law? According to this law, at constant temperature, the osmotic pressure of a dilute solution is proportional to the concentration of the solution. Let pi be the osmotic pressure. This is a general term, pi. Osmotic pressure is denoted by pi. Now pi is the osmotic pressure and C is the concentration of the solution. So what it is said, that pi is proportional to C. Like Boyle's law, PV is equals to constant, and you know that pressure is inversely proportional to volume. Okay. Now if the concentration of the solution is expressed in moles per liter and V is the volume of the solution containing 1 mole of the solute, then I can write this concentration is equal to 1 by V. Okay, concentration and V, they are volume, they are inversely proportional. Now here the concentration is equal to number of moles in 1 liter. So this equation, pi is proportional to C, that is the Boyle's-Van't Hoff law, can also be written as pi is inversely proportional to 1 by V. So Boyle's law is saying P is proportional to 1 by V. That is the gas pressure is proportional to 1 by inversely proportional to volume. Now for Boyle's-Van't Hoff law we are getting osmotic pressure, that is pi is inversely proportional to V. Am I clear? So both are similar type. This is known as Boyle's-Van't Hoff law. Please remember children, Boyle's-Van't Hoff law, pi is inversely proportional to 1 by V or pi is directly proportional to C. Next is coming Charles-Van't Hoff law. Charles-Van't Hoff law, at constant concentration, osmotic pressure of the dilute solution is proportional to the absolute temperature. That means pi is proportional to T, or pi by T is a constant term. Similar to that of Charles' law is saying P1 by T1 is equal to P2 by T2, where P is the pressure of the gas and T is the absolute temperature. Similarly, here also pi is the osmotic pressure and T is the absolute temperature, and that is a constant term. So you can see the similarities, you can find the similarities between the gas law and the Van't Hoff's law for the dilute solution. That is, it is following the Charles-Van't Hoff law, Boyle's-Van't Hoff law. Like Avogadro's law for the gas, Avogadro-Van't Hoff law. Equal volumes of solutions containing equal number of moles of solute provided their osmotic pressure and temperature are same. Okay. So what is the final Van't Hoff equation? This is the Boyle's-Van't Hoff law, pi is proportional to 1 by V, and this is the Charles-Van't Hoff law, that is pi is proportional to T. Now from these two, pi is proportional to T by V. To remove this proportionality sign, pi is equal to S T by V, where S is the proportionality constant. Okay, or this is known as solution constant. Okay, it was shown by Van't Hoff that solution constant S is equals to gas constant R for the gas. We are saying always R. So pi V is equal to ST, like PV is equals to RT in case of gas. Here pi V is equals to ST. Okay, where S and R are similar. This is similar to ideal gas law, that is PV is equals to RT, and known as Van't Hoff equation for osmotic pressure. Am I clear, children? Now for n moles of solute dissolved in V liters of the solution, the Van't Hoff equation may be written as pi V is equals to nRT, like PV is equals to nRT for n number of n moles of the gas. PV is equals to nRT. We know that this formula for gas. Similarly, pi V is equals to nRT if n moles of solute dissolve in V liter of solution. Okay. Till now we have talked about the concentration 1, that is the 1 mole. 1 mole. Okay. We have said that 1 mole is dissolved in V liter. Now I am saying if n moles of solute dissolved in V liter, then I can write pi V is equals to nRT. From there, pi is equals to n by VRT from this equation. N by VRT. If T is constant, R is also constant. Okay. So I can write here pi is proportional to N by V. Okay. Thus, osmotic pressure of a solution depends upon the number of moles of the solute. You can find that this is the number of moles of the solute. So, what you are getting, the osmotic pressure of a solution depends upon the number of moles of the solute dissolved in a definite volume of the solution. It does not depend on the nature of the solute. So, what conclusion we can draw? We can draw the conclusion osmotic pressure is a colligative property. Am I clear, children? Relative molecular mass determination through osmotic pressure. Let small w gram of solute is dissolved in V liter of the solvent and m dash is the molecular mass of the solute. So, we can write the number of moles of solute is equals to small w by m dash. Okay, because it is the weight by molecular weight, that is the number of moles of the solute. Now, pi is proportional to n by V, that already we got, or pi V is equals to nRT, that we know, or pi is equals to n by VRT, this also we know. So, from here we can write pi V is equals to, from this we can write pi V is equals to, in place of n, we can write number of moles, we can write W by M dash. N is equals to number of moles of solute is equals to W by M dash. So just replace the value of N by W by M dash RT. From there, M dash is equals to WRT by pi V. So we can find out the molecular mass of the solute through osmotic pressure. We can measure through this formula. So this is the end of lecture 6. In the next lecture, we shall discuss about abnormal molecular mass and Van 't Hoff factor.